What's going on, guys? Skeleton92 here with a Jurassic World movie review for you guys today. Now, we are not going to have any spoilers. Don't worry about that. I will try to tiptoe around things without giving any plot spoilers away. If for some reason I decide to do a spoiler section, it will be at the end of the video, and you will have fair warning. Don't worry about that. But this part here, you don't have to worry about. I'm going to tiptoe around stuff as best as I can with still trying to give you a solid movie review. Now, before we get into the meaty part of this review, let's cover the parts that you might want to be cautious about, the parts that were kind of bothersome to me, personally at least, and then we'll take it from there. So, starting off, there is some strong language you might want to be cautious about, given they don't drop the F-bomb, but most of the other cuss words you could probably think of are at least used once. Now, maybe not all of the other cuss words, but most, as far as I can remember, are used maybe once. So, you know, that to me is bothersome, especially in a movie where it's so infrequent that they could have easily taken, you know, those parts out. They didn't need to have it in there. Now, as a Christian, of course, as you guys know, I am. You know, they did use God's name in vain about 5 or 6 times, which, again, it was, you know, it was kind of pointless. They don't have to put that stuff in the movies, you know, in my opinion, and it kind of throws, you know, a chunk of people who may enjoy seeing this kind of movie, it kind of turns them off from it if they know that kind of stuff is in there. So, you know, to me that was bothersome, and, you know, it kind of did, you know, ruin the experience for me personally, at least. Maybe not for you, but again, I'm just pointing stuff out that you might want to be cautious about personally, and pointing stuff out that was bothersome to me. Now, you know, I'm going to try to cover every topic as much as I can. You know, so you know, we're going to try to, you know, cover anything you have to be cautious about, as I just explained, and get into the meaty part. Now, that aside, you know, to be honest, if it wasn't for that, I'd probably give the movie a solid 10. You know, or at least pretty close. But that aside, the movie, the characters, the story, the audio, the visual effects, everything is spot on. As far as audio goes, man, when the dinosaurs do their thing, you know, they let out those big roars, those big dinosaurs, and they start walking through the jungle, through the forest or whatever, you can hear it. If you're in the theater especially, right, you got surround sound going, you can feel it in your bones, you know, when those dinosaurs walk. And so the audio is spot on. You know, being an audiophile, being a musician, you know, I tend to pay attention to audio a lot more than average people, and so when I see audio done correctly, it's very appealing in my opinion. So the audio is great. If you go see it in a theater, you will have your world shook, your world rocked, literally. Especially if you go to IMAX. I didn't go to IMAX, but if you go to IMAX, you'll probably literally be shaking in your bones. But that aside, as far as visual effects go, you know, there's been quite a few years. There's been a gap of years since the last Jurassic Park. You know, this one's called Jurassic World, but of course it's, you know, off the franchise of Jurassic Park. And one thing that was a really pleasant surprise was that they had some kind of Easter eggs, if you will. Not really Easter eggs, but they made references to the old movies. There was things in Jurassic World that referenced the old movies, and I thought that was really pleasant to see. It was really cool, giving it that nostalgia kind of effect to it. Things have advanced as far as technology goes, you know, as far as movie making goes, as far as editing goes, visual effects go. So there's a lot of effects and visuals that we have in this movie that we didn't necessarily have in the old movies, you know. It's more modern. It's 2015, right? So they did it right. As far as story goes, they did add some modern twists to it too. Again, I don't want to give any plot twists away, but it's probably nothing you haven't seen in trailers. You know, you've probably seen some of this stuff in the trailers. You know what I'm talking about. But again, I'm trying to tiptoe around stuff, just not to ruin it, just in case. You know, just in case you guys, you know, you're interested in a review and you don't want like at all any spoilers. So, but that aside, the story it's very well executed. Now, the running time is about 2 hours and 5 minutes, and you know, most good movies have kind of this emotional roller coaster where they, you know, they kind of take you through these characters, they introduce the characters, you know, they build on those characters, they kind of give like a backstory, you know, kind of like a back idea of who these characters are and build upon them. And, you know, by the end, you feel like you're connected to these characters. So if a movie's done right, you're going to, at the end of the movie, you're going to feel like you know these people, you know. And that's how I felt leaving this movie. I felt like I was part of this action. I was in there. I was part of this chaos and this adventure. And you know, I think they executed it very well, you know, in delivering those characters and those emotions and so forth. Now the story is very it's very immersed. It's very you know, it just really gets you captivated in it, and it gets you really caught up in the action of it all. Now you know, there's many parts where you're going to be on your seat, you know, biting your nails, not knowing if something's going to jump out, not knowing if something's going to happen to this person or that person. And will it happen? Well, that's for you to find out. But besides that, man, it was thrilling. It was definitely thrilling. If you get scared easily, you might get scared at a few parts. You know, I've seen a few people in the auditorium, they seemed a little frightened. But for the most part, it's more like a thriller, right? And there's definitely some interesting creatures to see in this video, in this movie. Sorry. Especially the star creature of this great film. Now, you know, I don't want to give it away, but you've seen the trailer, you get kind of an idea of what's going on, and it is crazy. What you think in your head is what they delivered in the movie, and it is very, very well done. Now, there's not really much more I can say about this movie, except that it's, like I said, it's very well done. You know, there's a lot of action, the dinosaurs you see, the creatures you see, the drama in it. You know, it really takes you for one crazy ride, man. You know, if you want a thriller, if you want to go on a nice, crazy adventure, then go see Jurassic World, because that will deliver that adventure spot on. Now, Jurassic World has actually sold $8.5 million plus in the first opening day, which was Thursday. That was before the actual opening. That was the pre-screening. So I'm pretty stoked to see how much it's going to make after the first weekend. Apparently it's sitting, in the whole history of movies, it's sitting second right after Avengers. So this movie is definitely a big blowout. If you guys haven't seen it, I do recommend you seeing it, especially if, you know, you are a fan of the Jurassic Park series. And again, you know, do be cautious about the language. There is a few that I wish they wouldn't have had in there. But that aside, great movie, great story, great visual effects, great audio, and I would have to give it a solid 9.8. I would give it a 10 without the language, but I'm going to drop it to a 9.8 just because that was bothersome for me. I feel like I should drop it to a 9.5. The story was really well done, and I really appreciate the story that they did deliver and execute. So 9.8 is my score for Jurassic World. Go see it now. It's in theaters. And guys, the park is open.
I'm really proud of you for going on this trip.
You're gonna have so much fun. And remember, if something chases you, run.
We have learned more in the past decade from genetics than a century of digging up bones. A whole new frontier has opened up. We have our first genetically modified hybrid.
You just went and made a new dinosaur?
Probably not a good idea. Almost 40 feet high. Really think she climbed out?
Depends.
On what?
What kind of dinosaur they cooked up in that lab? Evacuate the island. She's a highly intelligent animal. She will kill anything that moves.